Hi guys, Dr. Vita, your chess doctor. And if you don't know me already, then you're missing out. Like you will know you're missing out, right? Okay, so basically today I'm going to teach you the game of chess, but I'm using my book, Chess Made Easy for Kids. Okay, just right there, and I will give you the full story around the game of chess. So basically, if you cannot play chess and you're with me with this throughout this series, then you should learn how to play chess. Actually, okay. So let's get started. This book's about 8 chapters, and the 8 chapters you're going to be seeing right on your screen at the moment. I made it very easy, very colorful for kids and all of that. So how we're going to do this is going to be very simple. I'm going to tell you about it and then put the book chapter by chapter right on your screen. Okay, so even if you cannot buy the book there, you could just watch this video and then pick the knowledge you want. Okay, so please you have to subscribe to support me, right? That's the best way, the only thing you can actually do to give back to me. Okay, so first on this book is the first chapter we have here is an introduction, basically about the game of chess. So on this particular series, I'm going to be talking about the first 2 chapters, which is introduction and then the battleground. Okay, so basically chess originated many years as chaturanga and from India, right? It's still from India, right? So still as a war game, chaturanga, where it was more like a strategy against to fight, like during war, strategy during war, and then they had to get 4 different men and the 4 edges of what is named chaturanga actually means 4-limbed, kind of. Okay, so chess originated from chaturanga in India, and it's basically a game played between 2 persons. Other than the fact there are a lot of modifications now, okay, the standard chess game is played between 2 persons. Okay, and then goes turn by turn. Basically, if I make my move, you make your move, and it goes that way, and all of that. Okay, good. So next after that is it has 32 pieces. That's 16 for each player, right? So 16 for me and then 16 for you. I make my move and then it's your turn to make your own move. Okay, so chess boards are made in different forms, like it has different variations. You could see the plastic board, you could see the wooden board, you could see the acrylic board, you can see magnetic board. This is based on types, right? Then we have the standard playing board and then the demo board. Demo board is basically the board used to teach people. So chess boards are always different. It comes in different forms basically, but the main thing you have to have at the back of your mind when you talk about chess is the fact that it's always we have 64 squares and then 32 playing pieces, 16 for each player. Okay, so that's for a brief introduction. Okay, so at the end of this particular introduction I've talked about now, you should be able to tell me where chess originated from. Did you get that? If you got it, then we are good. Then the second one is previously, what was it called when chess started? What was the first game it was called? Okay, instead of chaturanga, it was called chaturanga before it evolved to chess, right? And then okay, there is a design. I always add a switch to it, right? But if you check the book like that is on your screen, right, you're gonna see that there's a standard design that's currently used, and that's Stoughton. It's called Stoughton design. Stoughton design is what we use currently now for chess. And then how many persons play the game of chess? The answer is 2 persons. So if you got this 4 questions, then we are ready and good to move to the second chapter. Okay, so the second chapter is actually the battleground. Okay, I had to call it battleground basically because I wanted something that's a little bit friendly to talk about the board. Okay, so the battleground is basically about the board, right? And then how does this work? Chessboard is alternating dark and light squares. Now it could be white and black, it could be white and green, white and pink, you name it. But the important thing you have to do is dark squares and then there are light squares. Okay, so alternating dark squares, and there are 64 on an 8x8 grid. Okay, 8 here, 8 here, so you multiply it, it's going to be giving you 64. Yes. Okay, and then this grid is actually made up of horizontal squares and vertical squares. Okay, you could look at it and see the explanation, right? So when we talk about the horizontal squares, basically horizontal squares are more like they are called ranks, right? So here rank 1, rank 2, rank 3, rank 4, rank down to rank 8. So it's like climbing the staircase, right? So ranks from the lower to the high ones. Then it also has files. The files are actually the vertical squares, and that's why it's labeled alphabet A to H. Okay, and then the ranks are labeled 1 to 8. Now this can be a little bit confusing, I know, and usually I'll tell you just know ranks are labeled 1 to 8 and then files are labeled A to H. Okay, ranks go horizontal. If you get confused, see it like you're climbing a staircase, okay, for the ranks. And then for the files, in primary school, then they'll say stand attention, hands on your neighbor's shoulder, okay? Just hand on your, so you see that one too as files, okay? So that's the end of chapter 2, okay? So before we move to chapter 3, I want to drop something for you. So now the reason why we have these ranks and files is basically because we want to be able to identify every square with a name, okay? I don't know if you're a mathematics student. I know then there's this x and y axis, right? Then you know that the x axis is the horizontal one. That's the one that in this term now represents the file, and then the y axis represents the ranks, okay? So, and then there will be coordinates you need to draw. Maybe they might tell you when you label the y-axis maybe 1 to 10, they can tell you and then you write it x, y. I don't know if it makes sense. If you're a math student, geometry, they think this basic geometry anyway. So x and y, it has to be labeled x and y, okay? So same thing with this. Each square on the chessboard is labeled with the coordinates, files and ranks, okay? So the files had to go first before the ranks, okay? So it's like for this one, you're going to be seeing A1, okay? And then we can try more. You can identify all the squares right on your screen at the moment, so you can identify as much squares as possible, but it has a pattern. Files come first and then the ranks take the second one, okay? I also had to make another analogy, like you're trying to get villages and cities, okay? So imagine all the villages. We have village A to H, okay? And then each of these village has cities. So it's like we have A1 village, A1 village, A2 village, A3, something like that. I even had to make it simpler, so we can use village A meaning Abuja, village B meaning Benue, C Cross River, using basic cities here in Nigeria so that you can also pick it. But the summary of all of that I'm talking about is the fact that you label X against Y, okay? The file name first before the rank number. Okay, so that's all for this chapter. But before then, there are some questions on the screen. First, can you identify F6? That's FCT, CT, village 6. If you're able to identify F6 on the screen, it's right there. Then D7 square is a dark square, true or false? So if you can, basically this chapter wants you to be able to identify all the squares, okay? So it would be cool if you understand ranks and files, ranks horizontal, files vertical, 1. And then secondly, you should also understand the fact that each of these ranks and files actually makes up a box to have a particular name, A6, okay? A1, A6, B2, and all of that, okay? So I hope you can just go through it, and I'll see you on the next video actually, so this doesn't get so long. We'll see in the next video when we'll be talking about the army. So we just talked about introduction and the battleground. Until then, please subscribe. You have to subscribe and support me. This is the best you can do for me, okay? See you guys next time.